right, we do have David Hunn. Ladies and gentlemen, David Hunn, St. Louis Post-Dispatch reporter, up bright and early in New York City. Good morning, David Hunn.
Good morning, McGraw. How are you, sir?
Great story at STLtoday.com and on the newspaper on your front doorstep this morning. So what I understand from your reporting is they sold the naming rights for a stadium they haven't built for a team they don't have.
That is, at this point, correct.
Who gets that money?
That is also unclear at this point. So, one thing I think that's a little confusing here is this falls into the revenue category, not the expense side of the ledger, right? So this will help pay for somebody's part of the stadium, but it's not a it's not a construction fund. So it's unlikely that it's actually going to pay for construction. It's more likely it's going to either help the state or city, pay off bonds, or help the owner with his side of the equation. Remember, the owner probably will have to borrow money as well if this thing actually gets built.
We were at that very first news conference where David Peacock sort of unveiled the first plans at the Union Station. Both you and I were there, and I think the question was asked, who gets the naming rights? And David Peacock said at the time the owner would get the naming rights. So it's very possible that the owner of the team would get the naming rights to do whatever they wanted to do.
Yeah, I mean, and they actually see that as a bonus. The point is that, let's say for a second, just hypothetically, that they're looking for other owners who might be interested in St. Louis. This is guaranteed revenue for that owner. So even if the locals don't keep it, it's good news for the effort to get a new team.
It's usually the responsibility of the team to go out and find those naming rights.
Yeah, definitely.
Is the task force sort of overstepping its bounds here?
I mean, I thought about that when I was writing this story. What if whatever owner owns a company and wants his own company's name on the stadium,
right,
or doesn't like National, or already has ideas for what company would go there? I mean, I think there is a scenario where it could actually be a negative. I think, frankly, it's a little unlikely, but it is possible.
Yeah. What about the Edward Jones Company? Were they asked? Were they sort of slighted in all of this?
Oh, McGraw, why didn't I talk to you before I talked to those guys last night? I did not ask them that. It's a great question. I really didn't. I don't know. I didn't even think about it. I mean, I asked why they picked National,
right,
which I thought was a little odd. Why not just do Enterprise? Everybody knows Enterprise. And their answer there was that National's the brand they're trying to push now, and it fits better to the NFL market. Really the latter. They said that the Enterprise is too broad of a brand, and Alamo, Enterprise's other brand, is more of a budget, travel, family vacation brand.
Right. Yeah, reading that in your story, I must clearly be the Alamo guy, because I had no idea National was such a highfalutin rent-a-car company.
Right. I'm the thrifty, or I shouldn't be saying that, should I? Well, whatever.
I'm the hey, do you have a moped? Can I take a
right.
Do you have Uber in this town?
Car.
Right.
So, David, the meeting today between the NFL owners, what do they hope to accomplish today?
Hi, Kelly. How are you?
Hi.
So they are going to focus. I mean, this meeting is about the LA Opportunities Committee and the opportunities to build the stadium in LA. They're going to focus today on relocation fee and relocation timeline, and then, of course, at the end of the day, they're all going to sit down again, in a very private circle with none of the Chargers, Raiders, or Rams officials in the room, and they're going to get a chance to discuss kind of how they really feel about this all. So I think they're going to continue to fine-tune or maybe develop their feelings about what team should go to LA and when.
Clearly, David Peacock and Jay Nixon's task force dropped this little nugget precisely right before this owners' meeting to say, oh, by the way, St. Louis is much further along than everybody else.
Yeah. This was done very, very clearly. I mean, they're not even they're not pretending otherwise. They want to send a message to the owners that they are, on the ball, moving ahead, already have naming rights. Can you imagine that?
Yeah. Antonio French has made some noise that he might filibuster the one and only vote this stadium financing gets with the Board of Aldermen.
Right.
How much is this task force worried about that? Do we have any idea?
Well, they say they're not worried about it. Filibustering in the Board of Aldermen is very difficult. You guys might remember a certain rumor of a certain individual standing over a trash can at one point long ago.
Yes.
It's hard to hold the floor for that long at the board.
Yeah.
By yourself.
Yeah, that's. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, so I just think, I hear Antonio's point, and I appreciate that he brings it up. Like, crime is the most important issue in St. Louis, and he's trying to move it to the front of everybody's radar. I don't know if he'll succeed in this particular mission. I think, frankly, it's probably a little unlikely.
When does that vote take place in the Board of Aldermen? Do we have any idea?
So, the many weeks ago, the attorneys for the task force submitted, their kind of hopeful bills to the city, to the mayor's staff to look at, and the bills, again, this isn't uncommon, but the bills didn't work for the mayor's office. They contained language that was just a little too vague. So the mayor's office has been tinkering with them for a couple weeks now, and it's a back and forth process with the stadium folks. So we keep hearing that they're going to happen this Friday, and then they get held a week. And we heard that again this past week, but they're not happening this Friday. Yeah. So again, we're all expecting them to come next Friday.
And so really at any point. David Hunn in New York covering the owners' meetings for the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. He has a story this morning where he reports a $146 million naming rights deal for a team we don't have, for a stadium that's not built. Any chance that they're going to name a starting quarterback for this team they don't have?
Another great question.
David Hunn, thanks for checking in. Be safe in New York. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you both.
You got it. Read all of his stories at stltoday.com. Also at the newspaper on your stoop before the dog.